Good evening. Hello, hello. Got some early birds tonight. We've got like another 1.5 minutes to wait for everyone. Hello there. How are you, Miss Kim? All right, who we got here? Ivy Lee. Hello, hello. I'm guessing you are brand new because I don't think I've seen you here before. Have I seen you here before, Ivy Lee?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay.
me.
Oh, hello. Oh, yes. Hello.
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Yes, you too.
And who is LD iPhone?
That's me, Lisa.
Oh, hello, Lisa. How are you? Oh, Lisa,
Good.
that just joined after last week's webinar.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good, good, good. Welcome, welcome. And hello to you, Miss Sarah. I already know you. All right, beautiful. Well, that's good. Let me just make sure. All right. All right, let's start this call, shall we? Let me just change the view up here. Okay, so if you are brand new to this program, let me just make sure you know this. Hang on. So, just to be clear, and just for people watching the replay as well, every Tuesday morning in the Conscious Parenting Facebook group, there's a post that goes up at 7 a.m. automatically. It looks like this. Can you see that? Like that. Looks like that. Got a question for this week's Zoom call. Yeah. And in there, if you have a question for the Zoom calls, you put it in the comments there and then be on the call to be able to, so that I can talk to you and answer your question. However, for tonight, if you are new and you had no idea about that and you didn't put a question there, then that's okay. Okay, if you have a question for tonight and you're new and you didn't know, please over in the comments, you can over in the chat box, you can put a question up and I will definitely have time to get to you. All right, I'm just trying to, okay. In the meantime, while you were doing that, hang on, someone else is joining. Let me, all right, Miss Angie, I'm going to come to you, darling. Oh, hang on. I double clicked on Adele. Now I've got your face on my screen, Adele. Oh, hello, Miss Piper. Oh,
Ollie,
yes.
I have no idea how many questions there are tonight, but if you've got time, Piper's got one.
Oh, does she? What's your question, Miss Piper? Tell me so I know how long it will take and I'll see when I can answer it.
Quickly.
You tell her.
She wants to know how she can get away anger. She had a pretty big temper tantrum and she just wants to know how she can make it go away. And Holly has the answers.
Holly has the answers. Oh, yes, I'm sure you've taught her that. You know what, Piper? I know that your mum's probably talked to you about this maybe a long time ago. Maybe you just need to remember. Anger is really important, right? So anger is a feeling that we have to look after in our bodies like it's a little baby. Okay, so what I want you to do, I'll quickly answer this for you now because I think this will help everybody. Wait, let me find your cute little face and put you on the screen. Okay, so Piper, when you feel really angry, the best thing that you can do, first of all, is move your body. So like if you need to stomp or if you need to like, what does mummy do? Like if you need to like, bash a pillow or something like that, something like.
Yeah, I already have something to punch on.
Oh, good. Excellent. Okay, brilliant.
Don't punch the Peter or mum.
So what's really important, Piper, if you can, the best thing that will help you is if you can find the feeling in your body. So when you feel really angry, just close your eyes for a second if you can, okay? And if this doesn't work, if you feel like you can't think of it when you're angry, come back and tell me and I'll tell you something else, okay? But I think you'll be able to do this. So you close your eyes and you feel where in my body is the anger. Sometimes you might feel it in your throat, like there's like a big feeling in your throat. Sometimes it might be your chest. Sometimes it might be your tummy. Sometimes it might be in your legs. Wherever the anger is, you find where the feeling is and then you hold it like a baby. So inside your mind, you tell anger, hello, anger. Where is it?
Mouth.
In your mouth. Okay. So you can close your eyes and you can feel the anger in your mouth. And then you imagine that anger is a little baby that feels really scared, that just wants to be loved. And you can tell anger, if the feeling's inside your mouth, you can say, anger, I'm here with you. It's okay. You're safe. exactly like you would talk to a baby. If there was a tiny little baby that was scared, what are all the things that you would say to the baby if it was crying and scared? You would say, it's okay, I'm here, you're not alone, it's safe, it's okay to feel like this, you're allowed to cry, it's okay for babies to cry, you're allowed to feel that. And all you have to do is treat your anger like a baby, okay? And even if you can't do it straight away, sometimes you might be able to do it like 5 minutes later. But if you, instead of thinking, I hate my anger, get away from me, anger, you're annoying, anger, like I want you to get away, instead you go, you treat it like a baby and you give your anger some love. Okay. And what will happen is next time you start to feel angry, your body will automatically send love to the anger, and then you won't feel like you have to be angry and, you know, say mean things or do mean things when you're angry. Your anger just needs lots of love. It's like a little scared baby inside of you, and it needs lots of love. Okay?
Thank you, Holly.
Very welcome. Let me know how that goes. And Mummy can even remind you next time you're feeling angry, she can say, hey, remember, hold your anger like a baby. Okay. And even if that might make you a bit more angry at the time, you might say, shut up, you can't. But then at least Mummy can remind you, and then you can go somewhere and you can give your anger some love. Because that's all anger is. It's just a part of us that's actually feeling hurt or feeling afraid. And we protect it by being angry, but it means we're actually hurt or we're afraid. And if we're afraid or if we're hurt, both of those two things need love. Okay?
Thank you so much. I know that I completely hijacked.
That's okay. No, that's good. That's good. That's kids come first, all right? And that's good for everybody.
Thank you.
Very welcome. All right, Miss Angie. Hello to you. Hello, Gav. You there somewhere? Hi. Okay.
Yeah, we're having a late dinner.
Are you? Okay, no worries. Yep, go for it. Okay, you said, oh yes, that's right, about helping your kids regulate emotions. Okay, this is really good. So for those of you out there, if you haven't seen Angie's question, this is a very common problem where when kids are around other people, they're at other people's houses or other people come to visit, all of a sudden your kids go like ridiculous and they do silly things, like you said, they're like bouncy balls and they jump around and whatever, okay? The first thing is congruency from a parent, okay? Because a lot of that energy that kids get is almost like a nervous energy. So the first thing to just check, okay, and I'm not saying this is you, Angie and Gav, but the first thing to check is, does your behavior, does your feeling, does your way of communicating with your kids change around other people? Because if it does, if you have higher expectations, and this is what's crazy about energy work, right? These are, like, our children are such energy sensitive little beings, particularly if they're neurodivergent, okay, particularly them. And so they feel like, literally they feel vibes. I mean, if we all didn't get programmed by society to turn off our intuition the way that we do, we would all be able to feel that as good and as easy as a child can. So as a parent, if you feel ashamed about the way you parent, if you feel like embarrassed about your children's behavior, if you feel like, a good example is looking at our parents, right? Whenever you have to parent in front of your parents, if you feel like, or you know, you're going to cop criticism, your parents are going to have their 2 bobs worth that they want to tell you to, you know, why don't you let her get away with that? She needs a good smack on the ass, and, you know, all this old school, you know, 1970s parenting style. If you have fears around that, or you hate having to deal with that, then what will happen is you have an expectation of your children to behave a certain way so that you don't have to deal with what you'll have to deal with, from whether it's comments from people or, you know, thoughts and judgments or whatever. And that will massively interrupt the energies. So children then, they aren't getting the same vibe from you that they normally get, that your boundaries and everything aren't there. And so, because you want to like make them be good in a way that doesn't make you look bad, right? And so this is the first thing to look at, because this is more often than not what creates like an energetic anxiety in the child. They don't know like how to feel or behave or act when they've got this feeling from you, or they're getting different looks from you, or different comments from you, or whatever it is that you're trying to do to create a scenario in front of someone else. And that really unsettles them. And it's literally an anxiety type energy that will often play out in really boisterous behavior or really silly behavior. That's actually like an anxiety type sign. Like they don't know how to act or what to do or whatever. And it could even be that in front of other people, they get away with more things or something, right? And so it's like this sense of freedom all of a sudden that they don't know what to do with. Or it can, so first of all, just check that. Let me ask you, Angie, do you feel like you change as soon as you're in front of other parents, or do you ever word your kids up about, guys, we're going to this person's house, or, when Yaya gets here, don't do this or don't do that or anything? Does that happen for you?
Not for my mum. I think for my sister-in-law, it's very much she sees herself in Sophie and Gavin as Jonathan.
Okay.
So it's very much the comment of my little brother used to do that and used to annoy me. And that's what unsettles me, is Jonathan isn't Gavin.
Yes.
And I get along with her.
That makes sense.
But I also don't get along with her because she plays the sneaky games with Gavin.
Okay.
And Gavin's very much he's here, he knows all of this as well. He just Gavin's just sees the nice in everybody kind of thing. He doesn't see it that it's a game, but for me it is very much the game, because it's just it's not very nice. And then she protects Sophie, and Jonathan's the annoying brother, and then I get annoyed, and
I get you. Okay. So that whole dynamic would definitely play a role in it. Here's something you can do. You can literally lean into this experience. So let's say like when Auntie comes over, everyone gets a bit silly and a bit excited and whatever, right? You can do you play into it where you give full permission for a certain amount of time. You're like, right, everyone seems to have some silly beans in them. So let's get these silly beans out, okay? Because here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give everyone 1 whole minute where you can go, you can be loud, you can be crazy, you can't break the furniture, you can't jump on the furniture, but you have 1 minute. I'm going to put it on my timer, and when this timer goes off, hear me clearly, we are done with this behavior. There is no more jumping, there's no more silliness. And if you're right. If you show me that you aren't able to change your behavior, then you're showing me that you need to go to a different room and you will not be able to hang out in this space, okay? So everyone's got 1 minute to get the silly beans out of them, and you can scream and you can do what you want and, say what you want and whatever, ready, and then you encourage it. You're like, ready, set, go. And they're like, you're like, this is, it's not even hurting my ears. And you just stir them up and let them, and you might push them over and play some little rest. 1 minute, we all go crazy. Now we are done. Okay. And this, I used to do this all the time with my kids. I know lots of people in this program have kind of picked this up and done the same. We used to do it a lot in the car. Like my kids, especially the 2 younger ones, when when Amani started going to school or whatever, and we're out in the car all the time and going to sports and whatever, and they just got dragged around and had to sit in car seats and sit in prams and things. And so I would be like, right, when we're in the car and they all get a bit antsy and they're all upsetting each other, I'm like, cool, we're going to do 1 minute. Everyone has to scream at the top of their lungs, blah, 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 in the car. It did my head in for 1 whole minute. Felt like an hour to get through 1 minute. But you make it a thing where they get permission to do it and to be it, so that they're not power playing off some resistance from you. So give them permission first, but here's the agreement. We're going to do the silliness for 1 minute. Auntie, you can do it too, okay? But the agreement is at the end of this minute, we can still have fun. We can still hang out with each other. But there is no more silliness. There's no more jumping. There's no more whatever they're doing, rolling around on the furniture. There's no more somersaults inside, whatever it is they might be doing, right? That's the agreement. Do we all agree? So you don't make it a rule, you make it an agreement. Okay. Do we all agree? Hands in, or like you do like a little hands in thing or something. Like hands in if you understand and agree. Everyone puts their hands in. You're like, you say, okay, you ready? We're all going to say 1, 2, 3, I agree. 1, 2, 3, I agree. You make it like a bit of a game. Okay. Let them go stupid for a minute, and then it's done. And then, if you need to, say something to your sister-in-law. Like if, let's say, she starts to stir, you go, Auntie, those rules are for you too. No being silly, no making jokes like that. That's not fair or whatever. So you can call that out if you need to, but in like a way that doesn't make you come across offensive. Yeah. Give them permission, but there's an agreement first. There's boundaries that go on that afterwards. So if they have got some energy they need to get out, whatever that energy is, when someone else has come into your space and shifted the dynamic, let all that be expressed, and then we stop. And now we, go to normal behavior or whatever it might be. Okay. And the only other thing is that if, like you said, Sophie talks to you like rubbish when either of them are around, and they both, do nonstop silly stuff or whatever, and you feel like you're going to lose it. In those moments, I want to encourage you to parent her, parent both of them exactly like you would if no one was there. I want you to get to a place where you are so rock solid in how you want to show up as a parent and how you want to, discipline your children, that you don't care who's watching, who wants to get involved, who's got a comment to make. You're solid and confident in the choices you make with your kids.
And what happens if they make a comment on how we want to parent like that?
Yep. So like, you mean like, let's say the mum or the sister-in-law or something makes
my mum sort of puts her 2 cents worth in, and Sophie, you shouldn't do that. And I sort of look at her and shut her down. So my mum's it's my mum, it's easier.
Yep.
Where Gavin's family is not so easy.
Okay.
Because I'm always viewed as the bad person, but it's harder with his family, because I think I tried to do it on the weekend where I was telling them both off equally, because they were doing something. They were snatching, or they weren't playing fairly and things like that. So I sort of told them both off equally at the same time. And his sister piped up because it was just Sophie doing this, or Sophie was doing that. She was protective, and it's sort of like,
yep,
she just blew all of that out of the water kind of thing. It's sort of like, I don't know how to control it.
You just need one line that you're willing to use with everybody, just to make it easy for your brain, especially when you're in a bit of a stressful situation. What's her name?
Sharon.
So I would use whoever their names are, Sharon or Mum or whoever, right? Always use the person's name. And you can go, Sharon, I will be the parent, thank you. Mum, I will be the parent, thank you. And and this is something for you, right? And like we'll work on this at the Happy to Whole retreat. By the end of that retreat, you will be okay with other people having their feelings. Like, be okay with them being offended by that, or thinking, oh gosh, you got your nose out of job. What? Just like, it's okay for other people to have their own experience. What's not okay is that you betray yourself in one of those moments in order to please that other person, or to not give that person a feeling that they might not be comfortable with. But actually their feelings are what teach them how to treat you. And if she doesn't like the feeling, you're not being rude. You're saying, thank you, I'll be the parent. Yeah? Or you could say something, if you want it a bit more gentle, you could say, thank you, Sophie, but that's not what we do in our family. We've had big discussions in our family about what we do and the choices we make. And, Sophie is well aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah. And listen, guys, here's the thing. I know that's not comfortable. Okay. And even for you, Gav, right? It's your sister or whatever. But it's not comfortable anyway. It's not comfortable being in the situation you're in. So either way, choose your uncomfortable. You either choose an uncomfortable that leaves you feeling resentful, that leaves you feeling like literally you have just like totally betrayed yourself. You haven't stood up for yourself. You haven't got a boundary. You're not being that example for your children. You're dishonoring all of the effort that you're putting in to your parenting right now. And you're coming out in front of other people with very inconsistent boundaries that makes it hard for the children to know what you expect from them. That's uncomfortable. Or instead, next time you choose uncomfortability in a different way, and you go and you say it nicely, like the tone and everything is like, thank you, Auntie Sharon. I know you're just trying to. I know you don't think Sophie did anything bad, but we've had discussions about this, and this is one of my boundaries. So you can put a niceness to it. And if that makes her feel uncomfortable, that will be her teacher. If she doesn't like feeling uncomfortable, guess what she won't do anymore? She'll be like, well, I'm not fucking saying anything. Because if you say something, you're going to be, oh, thank you. Okay, great. Okay? And
Yeah, because then when we don't say anything, obviously she leaves, and then I get pissed off because nobody protects anything that we're doing.
Right.
And then Gav cops it. And it's sort of like, well, your fucking sister, blah, blah, blah. And then it's something that is between us.
Yeah, because you get pissed off. Not because no one protects what we're doing, because you don't protect what you're doing. This is actually high in your values, Angie. You're showing up every week. You're asking questions every week. You want to be better. You're putting in the effort. You're putting in the time. You're coming to the retreat in 4 weeks. Like all of this. Like this matters to you. Like let it fucking matter. And when something matters to you, you be a voice for it.
Yeah.
It's either your feelings or their feelings. And I want to give you full permission to choose yourself. Like, it's okay. Other people are allowed to have their experience. And they're allowed to have feelings that aren't perfectly happy all the time. Yeah? Always choose an uncomfortable situation over resentment. If you don't speak up, if you let that slide, what are you left with? Complete resentment. You're pissed off that she fucking puts in her two bobs worth. You're pissed off that Gav didn't say something to his sister. You're pissed off that, poor Jonathan heard what she said and feels like she's picking her. Like, you're pissed off at yourself for, just not protect. Like, do you see what's happening? Do you see what you're creating? Just because you're avoiding one moment of uncomfortability, but it's uncomfortable anyway. The only person that's comfortable in that situation is, let's say in this case, the sister-in-law. Because she doesn't know not to be. She probably has no intent to even offend you or mess things up like she's doing. She probably just truly has no awareness that that's even what it's doing or that you even care. And you might actually find that when you are willing to speak up without, you don't have to be angry or bitchy about it. You can just be like, thank you, Auntie. I know we've normally done things like this, but do you know what? We're making big changes in our family and we're very committed to it. And one of the things that we're changing is blah, blah, blah. So thank you for what you said. I know you didn't mean it, but this is one of the boundaries this is one of our family values. Like, include her in it a little bit. And you might find that she might be like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. She truly is like, oh, shit, I hope I didn't offend you. Like, I didn't mean to. She doesn't have an intention to upset you. I bet you she wouldn't do it if she even remotely felt like it was going to upset you. And if she does, and then she was to outwardly disrespect you, then, I mean, it's perfectly fine for you to have a boundary.
I think that's what I'm scared of, is speaking up, because every time I've tried to, it's gotten back to the mum, and the mum then goes Gavin, and then I'm sort of stuck in the middle, we're stuck in the middle kind of thing. Because
the only reason you're both stuck in the middle is you're trying to be responsible for everybody's feelings. Let them have their feelings. And if Gav gets upset and like he's there, right? Like, if it feels uncomfortable for you when your mum comes to you, fucking own it. Like, just like, that's not yours to fix, Angie. You aren't responsible for Gav's feelings, and Gav's not responsible for yours. But you two will vomit them out of it onto each other and totally project your shit onto each other, cause an issue between you two, only because you aren't willing to sit with and own and take full responsibility for your own experience. You have to deflect that onto each other so that you don't have to be responsible.
And that's where the kids then feed on that energy, and then they just go for days of being annoying, not annoying, but just being too hyperactive.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Look, after the retreat, this will change very easily, but between now and then, like lean in, like just the only thing you're ever dealing with, darling, the only thing you're ever dealing with is a feeling. It's just a feeling. And you just haven't, like, that was your little moment. I just saw you go to Mars or whatever you say. What do you say?
Yeah, I go to Tahiti.
I saw you just went to Tahiti just then.
Yeah.
I saw you. Okay. So all it is that you have been taught that you are responsible for how everybody feels, and that somehow you have to, you know, impact how Jonathan might have just felt when he heard Auntie stick up for Sophie or something. Like you're trying to protect how he feels without upsetting how she feels, but without like completely betraying how you feel, without like, do you see? Like it's just, it is not your responsibility to fix people's feelings, and particularly adults. Okay. Sarah just said over here Sarah just said over here, I remember, Sarah, when you were like in your early days and having issues with your family. She said after she stood up to her family or her in-laws, and her in-laws are Italians, right? Yours are Greek, hers are Italians, right? So they're all very similar in culture and all of that. Yeah. And that, they got the hard hand and all that kind of stuff. After she stood up, they stopped parenting them for a while, but they started to learn from Sarah. So they'll watch and then they'll say those things to the kids that they've heard Sarah say, or they say, does mummy think it's okay to do that, rather than coming into parentment, right? Because they know they can't say something because you'll jump on their back if they get it wrong. So they either say what they've heard you say, and if they don't know what you do right now, then they'll put it back on you. You just have to be willing to be the person in the family who is seen like that. This is the question, right, for you and for Gav. How willing are you, if the way you want to raise your children, the environment that you want them to grow in, the self-esteem you want to deeply embed in them, if all of that matters to you, if that's on the line, how willing are you to sit with some uncomfortable emotion sometimes, knowing that that's why you're doing it? You have to be willing to be seen by everyone around you as the weird parents. And it's just a willingness. You don't have to like it. You just have to be willing to feel it. I am willing to feel judged by my parents. Go ahead and judge me. Like, I actually don't care, because I judge the way you raised me. I will not be raising my kids like that. Mm. And it's going to be confronting to our parents when we don't raise our children the way they raised us, because by default that says to them, when we say, no, don't, Mum, you said that to me, I'm not doing that. It makes our parents feel like they raised us wrong. And basically they did. In those moments, we're like, you fucking did. You fucked me up by the way that you used to treat me like that. I'm not doing that to my kids. We actually do. The truth is, we actually do feel like that was wrong, which is why we don't want to do that. We want to do it differently. And so you can acknowledge someone's intentions. You can say, you could even talk to Sophie if you really need to. Let's say Sharon is saying something to Sophie. You can say, Sophie, I know Auntie Sharon sticks up for you because she had a brother, but Sophie, listen to me, because I am your parent, okay? And that is not okay with me, and I'm not going to tolerate that. That needs to stop. You speak to Jonathan like that again, you speak to me like that again, and you're showing me that you need to have some thinking time, and you're going to need to go and have a think about how you're willing to show up if you want to stay in the family room tonight.
And would you say that in front of whoever it's involved?
I personally would. Okay. And because that's how they can get the message. So if you don't want to say it direct to Sharon, You can make it kind of cute, like, hey, like, Sophie, I know that Auntie Sharon sticks up for you, okay? And Auntie Sharon, you know, Daddy is her brother, but listen to me because I am your parent. And no matter what Auntie Sharon says, I'm telling you that is not okay. And there will be a consequence the next time you do that. If you choose to make choices like that, you are showing me that you are not able to hang out with everybody tonight because your choices are not good ones. And then Sharon might go, oh, shit, like, I don't want to get, sorry, Sophie, I don't want to get you in trouble. And you can make it fun. But Auntie Sharon, you know, Sophie will get in trouble for that. Don't encourage her. You know, you can make it kind of like a bit of fun with Sharon so she gets the message, but in a way where she knows you're not meaning to be offensive.
Yeah.
Okay? But at some point, you just have to make a decision. Like I always say this, we all want things in our lives to change. But what's crazy about humans is we want things to change without having to change. But that's the whole point. We have to change. And so as you change your parenting, as you change how you show up to your children, how you're going to be seen as a parent by anyone else around you is going to change. That is going to be one of the changes you have to be okay with. You have two options: be a better parent and be noticed for your changes, or don't be noticed. And the only way to not be noticed is to be like them. Pick your hard, pick your bad. Either way, it's not perfectly comfortable. That makes sense?
It unsettles everything. Like, as soon as we know it's coming over, you can just feel it brew.
And because as soon as you know they're coming, you start feeling the brew. That's why your kids go crazy when people get there. Like, there's just a shift. You're antsy, you're on high alert, you're highly strung, maybe you jump on them, maybe you word them up. Now, when they get here, make sure this, all of those things. Yeah? What you could do next time you know someone's coming, be real. We talked about this last week. Yeah? What I want you to do is or maybe the week before, I want you to go to the kids and say, guys, can Mummy and Daddy please have a talk? Can everyone please come into the lounge room? We need to have a quick little family meeting. Listen, Auntie Sharon just called and she's on her way to our house, or whoever, grandma, whoever it might be, right? They're on their way. Now listen, I'm going to share my heart with you, okay? I feel a bit nervous when they come over because normally when they come over, there's different behaviors, and myself included. I start behaving differently too, and so do you. So can we all be a family tonight? And can we all be a team, and myself included, and we all focus on our own behavior, okay? Because I would like to enjoy it when, you know, Auntie comes over, and I know you guys enjoy it, okay? But we have different boundaries in our family now. We have different rules and different agreements and different values in our family now. And this is important to Mummy and Daddy. We're not going to change all the work that we're doing to be better mums and dads just because somebody comes over. So I'm asking you guys to please, and then what you do is you tell them that they are going to be what you want them to be, right? This used to work like gold for my kids. Say, for example, if we were going out for dinner, right? Instead of on the way saying to our kids, now when we get to this restaurant, you know, make sure you sit down, there's no running around, there's no blah, blah, blah. Instead of wording them up like that, which subconsciously tells them that I'm expecting you to be bad, right? What I'll do is on the way to the dinner, I'd say, guys, I just want to share something. Do you know what I love about going out for dinner? I love that we don't have to have the kind of conversations with you girls that every other parent has to have with their children. When most parents take their kids out for dinner, they have to say, make sure you use your manners, don't run around in the restaurant, make sure you sit down nicely and eat nicely, no shouting, no fighting, all of these things. And do you know what I love? I love that we just know we don't have to have that conversation with you, because we know that you respect us, and we know that you will always adjust your behavior according to where we are. And you already know restaurants aren't a place for that kind of behavior. So I just love that I don't have to talk to you guys about that. But I just did.
Yeah, but not in a way that
children is, I don't believe you're that kind of person. I'm not like warning you because I know you're going to be disruptive. I believe in you. I know we can have a nice night. I know we can have a great dinner. Please, let's remember our manners. Let's have respect for each other. And let's make sure that when we're at restaurants, we have a restaurant etiquette. Make sense? So you can even do that. So you can say, but have a family meeting. Call a quick 5-minute family meeting. And guys, can you help me? I get nervous when grandma comes because grandma doesn't, I parent different. I don't want to be the kind of mum like grandma was. She was good, but I want to be better. And so I do things differently. And whenever you guys make choices that I have to correct, you know, I'm just going to tell you the truth. It makes me nervous because I want to parent you in a different way, but then grandma will say something to me about it. And I hate having to deal with grandma because she makes me feel like I'm a little child and she's still the parent that can tell me what to do. And I don't like that. So could you guys help me out tonight? Could you guys please just be mindful of your choices, be the best that you can so that I don't have to put in all the boundaries. And it's not like you're not putting it on them, but just involve them in your experience. Like let them see how real you are, how hard you're trying, how much it means to you. And it would really mean a lot to me if you guys can be aware of your own behavior tonight so that I don't have to be the one that's always jumping on, don't do that and don't do this and don't be silly and don't jump around. Like I would love to not have to do that. Could you guys help me out tonight and be really aware of your own choices tonight? And then when that person gets there, and let's say if they start being silly, you say, Jonathan, J-Man, listen, remember what we talked about? Remember our family meeting? Thank you. Thank you.
As a 4-year-old, do you think he gets that? Do you reckon?
100%. You know what? 2-year-olds get it. They don't necessarily understand the vocabulary, but words are just a vehicle that deliver a vibration. Really, we're energetic beings. They feel this is important. They feel like you're trying to do good, you want to do good, and you're just putting in their mind, guys, it would really mean a lot to me if you check your choices tonight. If you be aware of yourselves. I don't want to be upset or angry or have to tell you off or take you out of the room. I don't want to do that. Let's have a really good night. Okay. Please be aware of your own behavior. And then all you have to do is give them reminders. Sophie, remember our discussion. J-Man, remember our family meeting? Remember what you said you'd help with? Thank you. It'll change. And the other person doesn't even know what you're talking about.
Mm.
They're like, oh, what's the family meeting? Let the kids tell them. Okay? But ultimately, we're going to get you to a place where you're okay with other people having feelings. And you don't take responsibility for how they feel. And you don't intentionally go in and be, some snappy cow to people. That you deliver it, with the intent to not offend or whatever. But you're also not willing to sacrifice all this work you're doing just to keep some other person that you don't care about as much as you care about your own children and as much as you care about yourself and your family. They come second, you guys come first. And so you're not willing to protect their emotions at the expense of people who are more important to you.
Do you think that energy can carry on outside of the house, so it goes to childcare and school and things like that, if the kids are holding on to that?
Yeah. You can. Do you mean? Wait, what do you mean by that?
Jonathan at childcare said for the last 2 days, it doesn't listen, doesn't. He's too loud. He's too boisterous. He's jumping around. He's just different, apparently.
Okay. This is still at the old childcare, right? As we haven't talked about. Yep. Yeah. Are you sending him to the new childcare?
We've decided not to because it's just convenience-wise, it's just not possible. Okay. It's just too hard.
Yeah, good on you. Yeah, fine.
And today was I didn't confront anybody today. I sort of voiced what I thought, what happened, and apparently I was rude. But Jonathan hasn't been listening. He hasn't been cooperating. He's been distracted. He doesn't sit still. Like there's nothing good that happens there apparently with this one person. But yeah, apparently that's the person that I offended today.
Okay. And wait, where was that person? At childcare?
Yeah. Yeah, she's one of the educators.
Okay. And then she said that you were rude.
I was apparently rude, yeah.
What were the words you said?
I picked him up yesterday and I had a migraine brewing and I had to go to work, and and I made the mistake of making eye contact with this educator because she goes, Angie, he's just been like off the chart today. He's not listening, he's not sitting still, he's being disruptive, he's blah blah blah. And I just turned around and looked at him and I go, well, exactly what is he doing?
Yeah.
Like, I need an example. And then I think that took her back a bit because I sort of she wasn't expecting me to say anything and just go, oh, okay, like I normally would.
Mhm.
But I think it was because I was at that
You know
limit
what?
of,
This might be good practice for you. Okay. Here's the thing. You can't control him when you're not there anyway, right? You can't even have a conversation with him. So it is perfectly okay. These are early childhood educators. They are supposed to be educated on children that have sensory needs. Everything you're saying highlights sensory needs to me. Like
Yeah.
the educators know he's clearly sensory. So if they're able to give, so my personal response, and I'm not telling you to be me and have my personality, you need to be you and do this in alignment with yourself, okay? But I think it is perfectly okay when they're like, oh, Angie, oh, he's just over everything. You say, you know what? I'm not able to do something when I'm not here. I really need you guys to support me on this and for you guys to work out the best way you can get him to respond here. Like that is something I cannot do because I'm not here. And if he behaves differently in this environment, it sounds to me like he's got sensory needs. Are you guys giving him something sensory? Is there something you can do to help support him? Like what is it that what is it you think he needs when he's doing this behavior? What has just happened? Like it's one thing for you to tell me that my child has done this, but first of all, what is it you're expecting from me by telling me that? When I'm not here, what can I do about it? Secondly, what potentially set him off? What just happened prior to that? What was the lead up to that? What could you do to support him in one of those moments where he's doing that? Maybe he needs to be taken outside and told to run across the playground and back. Maybe he needs sensory play and to go in the sandpit. Maybe he needs the Play-Doh. Maybe he needs, I don't know, like what are your ideas? Like when he does that, what do you guys do? Not just to tell him off, to meet his needs. Why is he doing that?
He's more of a cuddle. So it's more of something's happened that set him off, which would have been this little boy hurting him somehow or doing something that he'll just want to cuddle or like just something.
Okay.
And then he'll go off and he'll be fine. But I don't, yeah.
Tell them, I give you permission to cuddle my child. And if you can't, then you need to find another way because it also sounds like an anxiety type response. You know, him being silly is because he gets hurt by this kid. Yeah, it's like don't be afraid to make a meeting or send an email or ask for a, hey, I'm just ringing up, could I please have a chat with one of the educators when I come in to pick up my child today? I just wanted to ring and see if I can get someone's time for 5 minutes and go, look, I hear what you're saying. I'm not trying to be dismissive as a parent, but like, what is it you're expecting from me when I'm not there? And secondly, what are you guys doing? Like, what support do you have for him when he's in these moods? What is it that's creating this scenario? Like he can be supported. And let them answer the questions. Let them take some responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just reading is it Elle's comment? I think it was they were doing observations at that time. So it was very much and I think she does download a lot when I walk in. She's like, Angie, so like I don't care.
I know. And like, yeah, she probably just wants everyone to think that her job's so hard and she's so great because she has to deal with a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
If you don't like dealing with a bunch of kids all day, get out of childcare.
Well, that's my thoughts, yeah.
You know?
It was just
yeah. But voice that, babe, and use someone like that you don't care about, like they're not your friend, they're not your family. Use that person to practice using your voice on, just to move through that first little moment of uncomfortability that you get to just speak up in the nicest way possible. Like, you don't be permissive about it. Don't be people pleasing about it. Have some firmness, have some boldness, but speak it.
Yeah, I don't think I was rude. I was just quite to the point.
Yeah, exactly. You're just forward. That's fine.
Yeah.
Be that. Be that every time, and then she'll stop fucking whinging to you because she won't have your responses.
I don't think she'll talk to me now, though. So.
What honestly, just say honestly, what I hear what you're saying, but what are your intentions when you say that to me? Because obviously it doesn't feel good to be a mother that walks in and just gets told her son is bad or this or that. That doesn't feel good. So when you say that to me, can you please bring a solution with it? Can you please bring a suggestion with it? I'm willing to help and support, and I'm asking for you guys to do the same thing. He's not just here to be babysat. It's not a babysitting club. It's an early childhood education.
Yeah.
And if they don't know about sensory stuff or whatever, they need to learn, or there needs to be a manager or someone in the room that knows it, that can support that other worker. So just don't be afraid to call them out, right? You like, honestly, just be a voice for your child. It doesn't mean you completely always defending your child. You might acknowledge, yeah, I know he can be hard work, 100%. Here's what I do at home. Here's what works for us. You know, I mean, when he gets like that, by the way, I just wanted to say one more thing, just go back to when the kids are being silly. One of the best ways, you know, when you do that 1 minute thing, they can either scream and be silly. And the other thing I had in my head and I forgot to say to you is squish them. So play a game, right? That's it. On the floor, we're going to do the wrestle game, right? And let them lay on the floor, even Jonathan's tiny little 4-year-old body. And then you lay on top of him, literally with nearly your whole entire body weight, right? He'll laugh. He'll think it's funny. This will calm his nervous system deeply. And when he's in one of these moods, the game is the child's underneath you and you're like laying pretty much all your weight on top of them, or maybe taking some of your weight on your elbows. And they've got 1 minute and they have to try to get out from underneath you. And you're not allowed to regrip. So you get one position and you have to hold that position and they have to find a way to get out. And when they exert internal pressure, it actually calms their nervous system. So when they're like, they're trying to like push and like squirm and like they're trying so hard, but they move this far because your whole weight's on them and they can feel they're making progress. You do that for 1 minute and you watch his nervous system just go, ugh, like completely.
I've wrestled a tiger.
What's that?
I've wrestled an elephant. I'm out now.
Yeah, yes, that's what you do for 1 minute. And if Auntie's there, she can go on top of him, or she can go on top of Sophie, or make it a game, and it'll calm their nervous system. Like play like a wrestle game, or yeah, like like where they're stuck underneath you.
Okay.
All right, and that should help instantaneously. Whenever he's full of beans and being dysregulated, be like, right, come here. I'm going to wrestle you. Make it a bit fun so he doesn't crack it. Put him on the ground if you can, or worst case, you know, if you're out somewhere and you're at a park and you don't want to put him on the ground, bear hug the hell out of him and go, right, see if you can get out of this then. And like let him just wiggle and squirm. And it's not about him not getting out. It's about you making it hard for him to get out so that he has to use all of his internal forces to fight through that. That will regulate his nervous system. Okay?
Thank you.
No worries. All right, I see heaps of comments over here. Everyone's saying that was helpful for them as well. And yes. Okay, perfect. Who is next? Let me see. Mel, are you on the line? Let me see. Oh, yes, you are. Hang on, sorry. My mouse is being so jumpy, I just can't get it on the right spot. All right, Mel, are you there? Oh, yes. Can you unmute?
Sorry. Yes, I am. Thank you.
That's okay. So you said you just wanted a bit more guidance on family meetings and the conversation I had last week with Clint and Kate and Angie. So you said your daughter, oh, yeah, that's right. You said about how your daughters are quite disrespectful to him and things like that. Yeah, that's right. I'm remembering now. Yep. So you want to know, first of all, you want to cover the topic of disrespect, and then you want to cover like how to do family meetings with teenagers.
Yeah, from what I gathered from the recording, that's the way how you would approach it, to talk about the values and to reinforce it. But yeah,
Okay.
we haven't held any family meetings. I've tried it a couple of times and it didn't go very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then I just pretty much gave up, to be honest, because I felt that everyone was really on board.
Yeah, okay. So here's the thing with family meetings. For me personally, the way I would handle it is I just lay it out. I'll be like, guys, here's the deal. Listen up. We're having a family meeting. Don't ever do it like instantly. I also want to let you all know this coming Sunday, we're going to be having a family meeting. I know you probably won't like it. I know not everyone's going to enjoy this, but regardless of how we feel, we're showing up. I'm going to be asking you guys to sit at the kitchen table, and we are opening some discussions. And I know it doesn't feel comfortable and it doesn't feel fun, but you know what? Sometimes in families, we have to be willing to do things that aren't so fun. And this is what we're doing on Sunday. Okay. So the reason I'm telling you is so the family meeting is not about you being told what the rules are. The family meeting is all of us as a family having equal contribution to this conversation. Okay. It matters to me some things that I've got in mind, and what you've got in mind, or the changes that you would like to have happen in this household, they are important too. And if there's a way that we can work out how to make it work for all of us, whatever your suggestions are, whatever you need, I am open to that, even if it means that me and and Paul have to change. Okay. So we're all coming to this meeting. We're all going to have an open mind. I don't care how much you hate it. We're all doing it. Okay. I know it's not fun for me either, but we're going to learn how to show up and do some things that aren't so fun. Right. And then when you get to the family meeting, you can just pick, especially to begin with, till you build a positive association with the idea of meetings. Just pick one thing that you want to focus on in terms of changing, in terms of giving feedback. For example, it might be disrespect this week. Okay. And you might just do family meetings once a month or once a fortnight, and probably not every week, right? Because of the teenagers, and they've got a better way to comprehend and remember things anyway. So then you can say, so look, the only thing I want to bring to everyone's attention is just having consideration for other people. And between all of us, this is not a you or a him or a her conversation. This is, you know what I would like? That we all focus on not speaking words that are just unnecessary, that add no value to anyone, and that, if anything, only have the ability to hurt or offend someone. All I want to focus on in a family is eliminating words like that, myself included. I'm putting my hand up, and then you give an example. Like, I know the other day, I said to you, blah, blah, blah. That was unnecessary. It served no value. It was just not necessary for me to say that. I didn't need to. That's what I'm going to be mindful of, over the next week. And that's what I'm asking everyone here to be mindful of. That when you've got something to say, if it's just not necessary, if it's not going to actually make somebody feel better or more uplifted, don't say it. They'll probably know what you're talking about, but then you don't have to spell out an example there, because that'll just create some shame and some blame, and then they get their backs up. Okay. So then what you do is you just plant that seed in that meeting. So all I'm asking is that everybody focuses on just being mindful of what they're about to say to each other. That's all. That's all I would want this week. If we could just change that, I feel like our family would make huge progress. Yeah. And then when you hear like one of the girls say, oh, the dog's the only one that's happy, to see you when you get home, says that to Paul, then you say, which one was that? What was her name?
That was Jessica.
Okay. Then you say, Jessica, unnecessary. Because you've already used that word. You've already said, let's not say things that just, Jessica, what value does that add? Is that something that needs to be said? How does that add any value? And that's it. You don't tell her what to do and what not to do. You just say, Jess, Is that necessary? Was that one of those necessary comments that we talked about on Sunday? That's it. Leave it with her. Let her tell herself, no, it wasn't necessary. Or you just say, Jessica, unnecessary. That adds no value to anyone. But but the whole point of a family meeting is that everyone's got to have something to say. Everyone has to speak up about something. If they're like, I don't know, you say, well, we're going to sit here until you know. I want you to come up with something that you would like to improve, that you give me feedback, that I will give my attention to. I will be mindful, and you have every right to pull me up on it if I get it wrong this week. Talk to me. What is that? Oh, well, I hate how you rush us every morning and you run late and this and okay, fair call. You know what? Fair call. You're right. I do get a bit shitty in the mornings and I start rushing everyone. You're right. So how can I approach this? What could I do instead that would be a way that I could approach it so that you guys are on time, you're in the car when I need you to, without me having to yell and get shitty at the last minute? I'm just making up like an example. So you have this conversation. Oh, well, just give us a warning. Like, don't just come and tell us when there's 5 minutes. Tell us when there's 20 minutes. Okay, I'm willing to do that. Thank you. That's good feedback. I take that on board. Like, your kids need to hear you say this. They need to genuinely feel like you're going to make an effort. And then during the week when you stuff it up and you know what, I'm sorry, I take that back. I totally stuffed up just then. I apologize. Let's do a redo. And then you do it again or, whatever. That's the basis of family meetings. They're going to be uncomfortable. Own it. Don't try to not make it uncomfortable for them. Guys, we're doing a family meeting. I know it's not comfortable. I know it's not going to be your favorite thing. It's not going to be fun. Guess what? We're doing it anyway. And I'm just asking you to come with an openness, because no matter what, we're doing this meeting. And what I'm asking everyone to have a think about between now and Sunday is, what is one thing that you would like to see improve in this family? Just one thing. Everyone's going to have one thing they're like, I would love for this to change. I would love for this to be better. I would love to not have to do this. Okay? Everything is going to be on the table, and we're all open to how we can fix it. So it's not like a place where parents hand down rules. It's a place where...
So would you pick a topic, or would you just say it as you just said, just say something you would like to improve?
Family meetings are like the once a week thing where where you don't pick a topic. It's really just like, you say your thing you want to focus on, the next person says their thing they want to focus on, or something like that. Like, for example, my girls used to say things like, well, I want everyone to focus on having respect for each other's space and not going into somebody else's room unless they've asked.
Yeah, we had that one.
Something like that, right? And so it's like a problem for them, right? Maybe what you're talking about is the daily conversations, which is where you pick a topic. That is harder to do with teenagers that don't really want to do it. But that's more of a thing you do every night at dinner, right? So that there's intentional conversation. So there's daily conversations where, we would always pick a topic and that's what we talk about, or the kids, every night somebody different chooses the topic and we go around the family and we all share our favorite thing, or we all share our challenge for the day, or we all share something we're grateful for, or whatever it might be. That's a daily thing. But the family meetings are like once a week or once a fortnight, probably in your case. And you say, guys, I'm just letting you know, like, I don't ask you for a whole lot. I am asking you to show up to this meeting, and we're going to do it every second week until we're going to do this like until it no longer feels uncomfortable. And then when it doesn't feel uncomfortable, we'll probably enjoy this. Like, it matters to me how it feels to you to live in this home. It matters to Paul. It matters to me how your home is supposed to feel like your safe place. And if there's anything me or Paul or anyone else can do to shift ourselves to make that feel better, make it feel more like a home for you, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, I've tried it a few times. I remember you've mentioned that before, like the favorite thing and the challenge that you had in the day. And there was a lot of, I found it hard to sort of reinforce, probably because there
different
wasn't
to the
much
family meeting, though.
feedback.
So that's different to the family meeting. So that's daily conversation, yeah? So family meeting's a bit different. That you can kind of force. Daily conversation with teenagers, you're probably going to have to make feel a lot more natural, okay? So for the first 4 weeks, the first month straight, maybe they won't really engage much in conversation, but you come to the conversation, you come to the table with something to talk about every night. You come with, so I wanted to share something with you all, a bit of a challenge I had in my day today. You know, and whether they are like, I don't really care or not, doesn't matter. Like whether you care or not, it's not about you. It's just, I want to share my challenge. And if anyone else has got advice or got feedback or just open conversation in general, you know, and it will take a bit of time, but that will become something that their brain becomes familiar at hearing. And then when their brain is familiar at hearing it, they'll be more willing to engage with it. And maybe they'll get to a point where they're also willing to share with you what their challenge was. And you can still ask the question, who else had a challenge today? Tell me about your challenges. Who else had something shit happen this week? How'd you handle it? You know, other times, you know, and teenagers will probably find it easier and more interesting to talk about something negative or something shit that's happened. And that's okay. That's like just to start with, it doesn't even matter what gets spoke about. You're just looking for engagement of any kind. Yeah, it might even be, what are you doing for the weekend? Or, you know, what's a goal? Hey, guys, I've got on the coaching call and, you know, I'm really thinking about a few things and, you know, I've just got some new goals for myself. I don't know. Have I told you? I didn't really know how much I enjoy my work anymore. I'm starting to really open up to, you know, maybe some other pathways for me and whatever. Just share your life. Just share something that encourages any kind of engagement.
Yeah. Got one more question around that. What has improved a lot, but I still find there's a bit of resistance actually from Paul, that he feels quite often that he's been taken advantage of. He's aware that it's often his thing, but yeah, something to maybe reinforce that a bit more of, yeah, a different approach. I just find it so.
In what way? Like, what are you looking for from me here? Like, what do you need to say to Paul? How do you make sure he doesn't feel taken advantage of? What is it you're looking for from me on that?
Yeah, to get him a bit into a different mindset of that he gets taken advantage of if he sort of he feels like he gives them a free ride if yeah, like he's too loose on things, I guess, all the upbringing and what have you.
He feels like you're too loose on the girls or he's too loose on them?
That he will get taken advantage of.
Oh, okay. If he gets too loose, he'll get taken advantage of. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
By your kids or by his kids?
No, he hasn't got his children, so just, yeah, my kids.
Your kids. Okay. Yeah. So just tell him, babe, no one can take advantage of you if you don't let them. Don't being taken advantage of is something you have to allow. If you ever feel like you're being taken advantage of, you're welcome to put your boundaries in with my girls. Respectful, nicely, or come and talk to me and I'll talk to them. Like, don't parent them. It's not good for a step parent to parent the stepchildren. Come and talk to me, and I just want you to know, like, it matters to me. Like, I will address that. So if ever you feel like you're taken advantage of, have a boundary, have a voice, or bring it to me and I will talk to whoever I need to about that. But the thing, he's going to get that. He's going to have that reflection from them or from anyone, because that is a lot of his life scenario, right? That he has been taken advantage of, and that, you know, the issues with his ex has been a very toxic, messy situation. And if he feels like he's really being taken advantage of, that's a wound that will completely project itself in his life, and he will, situations that nobody had any intent to take advantage of him, but he will see it as being taken advantage of. And it's because he doesn't have boundaries, or he's too afraid to put in boundaries, or in the past when he's tried to put in boundaries, it's backfired on him, or he's had a narcissistic partner that has used it against him. And so now he becomes so weakened in his masculinity and in his ability and his willingness to even implement boundaries that's where he's being taken advantage of, because no one's intentionally doing it, but he lays out the mat for them to walk over. Or he lays himself out as the mat for them to walk over, by being too permissive. That's a healing journey for him.
Yeah.
He's not willing to go to Happy to Whole or anything, is he? He's not there. I mean, I know he's coming to Purpose Retreat, but he's not open to that, is he?
He's starting to.
Is he? Okay.
But yeah, he only just 2-3 weeks ago changed finally his job to make him a bit more free and get a bit more financially, hopefully, ahead. So the timing isn't really right.
Yeah, that's okay. I know he did some work obviously in the men's group earlier in the year, but yeah, it's fine. I mean, we're just so everyone knows also by that, I should have said at the start of the call, if you want to come to the Happy to Whole retreat, we're closing the bookings at the end of this week. All right. It's just so that we've got a month to get ready for the retreat. And if you are coming, look out for your emails this week, because the next instructions will be there and we need your dietary requirements and things like that. Okay. If you're sitting on the fence about it, if you don't know about it and you want to know about it, spending a weekend in person with me at the end of October, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for a healing retreat, reach out to me privately, not to the Holly Effect Facebook page, but to my personal account, and do it, Jess said. We can jump on a call or whatever you need. Okay. I know it's so close. It's like 4 weeks away. So that is a longer journey for him, Mel, like for him to it's not your responsibility to, to fix the experiences he has that makes him feel like he's being taken advantage of. In all of those moments, he probably lacks boundaries, or healthy boundaries. When he finally does have a boundary, he probably implements it too hard, too fast, and in the wrong way, and not in a healthy way that he can be consistent with. So he kind of blows it, and then he goes back to no boundaries. And then after a while of being resentful, of feeling taken advantage of because he hasn't got boundaries, finally he bursts it out in the wrong way, in too much of a harsh way and all that. And then it's just like this cycle that's either too hard, it's just this pendulum that goes, you did it too hard, you did it too wrong. But the reason you did that is because you're not respecting yourself. All of these other times you're disrespecting yourself. You're letting yourself be taken advantage of. You've got no boundaries. You're not voicing anything. You're not handling things with effective communication. And eventually you have to claim back all your power, and you do it in the wrong way. And then because you've done it in the wrong way, when you calm down, you feel a bit guilty, you overstepped the mark. So now you go back into complete permissiveness, complete people pleasing, complete I don't want to overstep the mark again, until it builds up and you lash out.
So can I ask one more question with that? Because for example, he buys a protein powder, and my girls like to use it, but she said that's fine, but I don't know what they do, but they use so much that literally the whole tub was gone in a week.
And what
and he's
powder?
Yeah, protein powder.
Oh yeah, protein powder. Okay.
And he said it very clear actually that he doesn't mind them taking it, but sort of more responsible, like a scoop a day, or but not 3 scoops and then waste it. So if that has already been spoken about and then they still don't do it, now he has consequence that he actually is hiding it in his car.
Yeah, that's a really good thing. That's a natural consequence. It's he just has to be clear on what fair use means. So hey, you guys can have 1 scoop a day. I'm more than happy to share it. You get 1 scoop a day. Beyond 1 scoop, I'm not okay with it. Okay. I don't want to have to check. I don't want to have to hide it. I want to believe that everyone will respect that. You can have 1 scoop a day. After that, that's it. You wait till tomorrow. Okay. And then that means that one tub, and he needs to really know what this is. You know, if one tub, sometimes it can be quite deceiving. It's only got 40 scoops in it, right? Or something like that. And if there's
get you.
there's 4 people using it, that's gone in 10 days. So in his mind, he's like, oh, I bought a big tub, you know, and it's only lasted just over a week. And then he thinks that someone's had 2, 3, 4 a day or whatever. And sometimes it really can. So he really probably needs to measure something like that just to really know. Or the other suggestion is you stop sharing and everyone has their own tub. And that's your tub and that's your tub. So yes, you buy 3 times more up front, but it lasts 3 times longer because everyone's got their own tub. And the deal is we're going to buy you 1 tub a month. That's what you've got for the whole month. In there, 30 scoops. If you choose to have 3 drinks a day, go for it. You can, but it means you're going to run out in a week and then you're going to have to wait 3 weeks to get any more.
Yeah, thanks. Yep.
Yeah. Make it like something that they only hurt themselves and they also get freedom. I'm not telling you, you can have however much you like. All I'm saying is I'm only buying 1 tub a month. That's what I'm buying. Outside of that, you want more, you pay for it yourself.
Yeah, makes sense.
And if they choose to have 3 a day, you have no problem with it. They can have 3 a day as long as it doesn't affect somebody else, as long as it's out of their container. Yeah, fair call.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, darling. All right. Who was the last person? Oh, Miss Jess, it's you, darling. All right. Let me open your line. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Let me remind yourself for what it was. Oh, yes, this spirited little 4-year-old you've got. Yes, we talked about the running away issue. And, oh, yeah, I was saying the same thing. Have you looked at sensory stuff for him?
Oh, you've cut out. No.
Is that better?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Oh, he's cut out again, I think.
Oh, it's like just randomly this freaking microphone just turning off.
Oh,
I don't know why. Okay. Have we spoken? Was it him or Livy that we talked about maybe like I reckon 2 years ago about like with sensory stuff? Was it him that had sensory?
I think he's got. I think they're on 2 ends of the spectrum. I think he is sensory seeking and she's sensory averse.
Okay.
And I think the more I talk about it, the more I realise that I'm not doing enough to support his sensory needs.
When I read your message, the whole thing screams sensory. Even the way he runs off, like that he was the other day, like and gets dysregulated like that. So the best thing for a child that's sensory seeking is like wrestle like that, like what I just said to Angie before, like laying on top of him, you know, especially when you can see him getting antsy and he's starting to really like push boundaries and look for, you know, what he can damage, what he can hit, what he can throw, right? If you the sooner you can catch him in that, especially like at 4 years old, honestly, it's really all they need. Bayer used to have that, like my middle daughter, who, you know, definitely has some ADHD symptoms in her, or quite a lot. So it's like, and if we could catch that early enough when she was getting antsy, when she was just starting to pick fights, or she was just starting to be disruptive, and we could make it fun for her, like, right, get over here, you little, you know, I'm going to get you and I'm going to tickle you, and we tickle her and then we'd like pin her down or whatever. That literally a minute of that, maximum 3 minutes, and that would be enough. Honestly, it would just absolutely change her entire demeanor for the next 4 hours. So start there, because it is hard. If he is sensory seeking, it is really hard to know until we rule out what is sensory by giving him a sensory experience, what is actual behavior and what is something that he is not making these choices. He's not even meaning to be disruptive. He's just looking to meet his own needs, and he's got a sensory experience that he needs.
Yeah, I agree. We have played around with it. And so I used to play that wrestling game on the bed where I would throw him down.
Oh, yeah, the fall over game. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it would work, and other times he would go like, I mean, it would be like it would crank him up to the next level, which was extraordinary.
Yeah,
and so I kind of stopped doing it because I was like, I can't cope with you at like dysregulated, hyper dysregulated. I'm like, nah, I can't cope. So this is where I struggle to know how best to deal with his dysregulation, because sometimes getting him involved in like a puzzle can be really good, but if he's too far gone, then he won't sit down to do the puzzle. And then sometimes if he's too far gone and I wrestle him, then he goes even worse.
Yep, absolutely. So one thing on the wrestle games, or that fall over game that, on the bed where you push them over or whatever, here's something that would help him long term: gymnastics, right? It absolutely changed, and I've said this to hundreds of parents over the years, that what really helps downregulate their nervous systems is internal forces, like muscle exertion on their part. So for example, a game where like you push him over and he stands back up, and push him over and he stands back up, and he's succumbing to like an external force will hype him up. But where you get over the top of him and just pin him, and you barely move, and he just has to get out of that. Or this is why gymnastics is good, because on the inside of themselves, they're having to hold on to something or balance on something. It's their internal forces. That is what will like calm the nervous system. But if we exactly like you said, if we do outside things, or even like jumping on the trampoline or something, that as much as they might like it, it can hype them up more, because it overstimulates their nervous system. Actually needs to come down, but that overstimulates their nervous system, and then they literally go into like an anxiety, like they literally have more energy than they know what to do with.
Yeah, that makes sense. And actually that's brilliant, because Livy started gymnastics this September, and he saw her go in, and then the following week he's like, I want to do that. And so he started it last week, and he came out of the session like buzzing. He was like, oh, that was so good. And I was like, oh, okay, great. So yeah,
gymnastics, anything, because they teach him about his body in space, rolling, tumbling, doing it safely. But even just hanging, eventually he'll get to places where he's doing splits, but he has to use his strength to be able to, and he has to have quite focus when he's learning to balance on something and whatever. All of that, she would come home from gymnastics. I think that's why she was such a good gymnast when she was younger. And then she ended up going into actual trampolining when she got a little bit older, when she was like 8 or 9. But it just, like, she would be passed out for hours. Even on a Saturday, she'd do training on a Saturday morning for 2 hours. And like, man, they push those tiny little kids. That's the sport. It's a very disciplined sport. She would just be docile for hours after. And then the sensory seeking that would calm her would be sitting on the couch, and I'd tickle her back, or I'd play with her hair, and we could just sit there, and she could just be really really, really docile.
Yeah, because they're wonderful. It sounds terrible. They're wonderful when they get into that state of I'm happy, and it flows.
Yes.
And yet at the moment, I think what with school having started, and like the lead up to school was horrific, and now school's started, and he's really good at school. I know he behaves really well, because I think he's so focused on whatever they're doing. And then obviously after school and at the weekends, it's just mayhem. But I will try these things.
Yes, definitely do. Yeah. Bea, one of her love languages is touch, Sarah, but the other one of Bea's is acts of service. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Sebby's the same.
Yeah.
He's exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So but just know that when you push him and he has to get up, when you put a force on him, it's going to stir him up. When he has to force his way out of something, it will have a totally different response. And all you have to do is basically sit on top of him.
Okay, great.
But yeah, something like gymnastics that gives him a lot of forces that he has to, for an hour in a row, his body gets to move. It'll probably change. Like, it's like it changes their personality. It's like it's just part of their regular life. And then when they're at home, getting some things, if he does love it, it can be like, hey, Sebi, no running up and down the hall, but what you can do, red light, green light, but what you can, why don't you go outside and practice your somersaults so that you can show your teacher next week? Why don't you, you can buy some little things like some wedges and stuff that they can learn to safely tumble down and stuff that cost like $20 or something, and gives you while you're doing dinner or while you're doing whatever. It's like, yeah, just yep, I'll set up this equipment, and then that'll also, how I suggested the other day with him running away in the group, and I said, an idea is like have something set up for him when he gets home and tell him in the car, so I've got this or I've got this, or you know what I've set up for you today? I've got all the tumbling mats out. My lounge room used to have tumbling mats out all the time just to make it safe. And they could break something. You take responsibility for moving anything that you don't want broken that really is special to you. The rest of it's like, okay, it wouldn't be cool if it broke, but it's also not the end of the world. And the chances that it breaks, like, I'm not going to lose my piece over it. If it fucking breaks, it breaks. Like, it's going to be an accident. No one's going to mean to, knock their foot on something, right? So you set it up in a way that you're okay. This is what it is. This is your space. If there's an accident, there's an accident. It's not the end of the world. I'm not going to lose my shit over it, that kind of a thing. So you just have to take that responsibility there so that there's not an environment for him to kind of play in, but then he's in trouble if he was playing and broke something, right? But yeah, it's totally worth an investment. If he loves gymnastics and gets into it, it's worth spending $200 on some equipment that you can have at home to make things safe, and then that's what he can always go and do. And that's how you spend time with him. I used to go, I tell you what, in between cooking dinner and getting ready for this, I'm going to have 6 minutes spare. I'm only going to have 6 minutes. I tell you what, Bea, how about, because she's getting all antsy, I'm like, how about you go and practice some somersaults and handstands and cartwheels, and as soon as I'm finished here, I'm going to come in, and for 6 minutes, I'm going to watch you do a bit of a show. And you have to do all the handstands and all the cartwheels you can do. And all I'm really doing is making her like do cartwheels or something for 6 minutes, and after that she's like ready for dinner and she'll sit still at the table.
Great, yeah, because sitting at the table is also a bloody nightmare. So yeah, that's a great idea.
He definitely sounds very sensory. Yeah.
Right.
And I don't even think much of it is behavior at all. Let's meet 3 weeks, and what's left over is behavior, and then we can address it. But if you try to fix sensory through addressing behavior, we just damage their self-esteem. They're not even meaning to be like that.
Yeah, and that's what because I'm so at the end of my tether, I've tried really hard to because I know that he's not doing it on purpose, and I've tried to come from that mindset, but this last week or so, it's just been so much more extreme, like running away for 10 minutes, and I just like I've lost it on him several times, knowing that didn't mean to do it.
Yeah, give him some squishes and some wrestles and things like that.
Great, thank you. I will do that.
No worries, my pleasure. All right, beautiful people, that is it from me tonight. Now, let me just double check. There's a few new people on the line tonight. Lisa and who was it? Ivy Lee. Does any of you guys have a question? I'm happy to answer if you do, because you may not have known to put it in the group. Feel free to open your line and ask. You don't even have to put it in the chat box. If you have a question, I'm happy for you to undo your line and talk to me. Otherwise, next week, you can put a question in and we can talk then. No one has a question? All righty. Well, if no one has a question, then yes, if you want to come to Happy to Whole Retreat, we're closing the bookings this week. So we're going to close them off on Friday. So if you need a conversation or you want to know anything, please reach out to me. I'm more than willing to, do what I can to help support you being there, because it's another whole year to wait if you can't be there this time. Yes, that's the only thing I had to put out to you all this week. Be there, reach out to me if you have a question on that or if you want to come to Happy to Hold. Otherwise, I will be back here and I'll see you again next week, yeah? Good night, everybody. Good night. You're so welcome, Lisa. Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everyone.